What is going on, all you Pokemon collecting maniacs out there? This is Ryan, the PikaPikaPaPa, and I am so incredibly excited to bring you all this video today. And there's a bunch of different reasons why. You know, one of the things I'm excited about is this isn't my data, right? This came straight from TCG Player, which is really exciting for me. Not because I don't have to do the work, I love doing the work, but whenever a brand as big as TCG Player is offering us actual data from their actual website, like that's something that we should absolutely digest and look at and talk about. Because, you know, outside of eBay, TCG Player is the second biggest source for buying and selling Pokemon cards, you know, on the internet, right? eBay's number one, but eBay has actually purchased TCG Player, so they're kind of interlocked, one and the same. They're operating independently right now, but I think we'll start seeing them merge closer and closer as time goes on. You know, the other cool thing about this is, listen, TCG Player makes money by you and me buying and selling cards. So when they are willing to give us this type of data, this really hammers home the point that they are saying, listen, we need you to put these cards on because they will sell. We are telling you right now, these 50 cards will sell. There's a disproportionate amount of demand versus the current supply that we have. So please, we're begging you, we're doing all the work for you. Go ahead and put these on TCG Player so all of us can make a little money. And the other thing that's really cool for somebody like me, who I'm more of the investor, I'm more of the long-term collector side of things, is this gets me to look through a lot of my silly cards that I have sitting around, right? Because guess what? Cards that might be silly to me, cards that might not have long-term value appreciation to me, doesn't mean that there aren't people out there who love these cards right now and they need them for their decks and they'll value them more than me. So if I can get them in the hands of somebody who's going to appreciate them a lot more than I can, and I can make a couple nickels along the way, right? Like, talk about a win-win-win for everybody. So when I got this information from TCG Player, this is exactly what they said. They said, hey, listen, we've compiled a ranked list of Pokemon cards in high demand that are currently understocked on TCG Player. We calculate this ranking by factoring in market price, current inventory, recent demand trends, and they're saying you can use this data to make informed decision on sealed breaks and, you know, inventory acquisition and listing prioritization. But for me, the TLDR on this right now is, hey, listen, guys, if you have these cards, list them because the demand is high, the supply is low, and we know that you can flip them very quickly. So this is the type of video that I love, and again, we would be remiss if we didn't deep dive into this right now. Now, with that being said, listen, these are the kind of cool playing chess when everybody else is playing checkers types videos we try and do all the time here on the PikaPikaPaPa channel. So if you haven't hit that subscriber yet, we're building an amazing community and we would love to have you here. So hit that subscribe button. Questions or comments, drop them down below. And as always, if you like what you see, give us a thumbs up. Those three small things go a long way in helping out my small channel, and it lets me know you appreciate the work that we put in. So before we get into it, here's what happened. The data that they sent me, which was an Excel sheet that I was able to download, it was really cluttered, right? There were some repeat cards on there. There were some code cards in there. So I pulled all of that out, and we are left with 38 of the 50 cards that we should actually be talking about here in this video. And I broke it down into thirds. I do the bottom third, the middle third, and we're going to spend an extra amount of time on the top 10. We're also going to talk about some of the trends and buying and ripping things, all kinds of fun stuff, and we're going to get into that right now, okay? So the very first thing, this is the bottom third right here. And now I want to start off with talking about the Iono, right? So this is the special illustration rare from Paldea Evolved. I love everything about this. I started off thinking about this card with a huge degree of trepidation, but the fact that it has been out as long as it has, it is still obviously in the highest of high demand. There aren't a lot of them, which means not a lot of people are selling them. Still has a market price of over $100. Now, the market price for this card is higher than a booster box of Paldea Evolved, and I went on eBay before I shot this video to confirm, but you can get tons of Paldea Evolved booster boxes with free shipping for less than $100 right now. And when I'm thinking about the long-term trajectory, now again, I'm talking 3, 5, 10 years from now, lots can change between now and then, but when I think about the fact that this has a really cool chase card, which has somehow bucked the trend of the Pokemon pop and flop, like yes, it started higher, and it's come back down, but it is still over $100. It is still in high demand. I love everything about that, and I think that bodes really well for Paldea Evolved in the long run. The other thing I really liked seeing on here was some of these promo cards, right? So we've got the Lugia card on here, and that's from the exclusive box. It's the Lugia and Unknown box from Crown Zenith. You know, there's going to be more Crown Zenith coming to the market in October. We've talked about that a lot, but I'm really excited to see that on here. I'm also excited to see there's a couple different Umbreons on here. We've been talking about Umbreon gaining a lot of momentum, getting a lot of notoriety. You know, it's climbing up the most ranked Pokemon list. So it's exciting to see that on here, and that Gold Zard EX, you know, from Obsidian Flames. We're going to talk about Obsidian Flames a whole lot on this list. Now, another thing that I think is really cool is you are able to see that this isn't just about the collecting and investing side of things, right? Like, as I've always said, you know, I think TCG Player is more on the player side, and I think eBay is more on that collecting, long-term investing side of things. Now, both people, obviously, I integrate with both platforms, but I do feel like TCG Player is a little more on the gamer side of things. And so it's really cool to see these cards on here that just aren't buy and holds, that just aren't get a minty copy, send it to PSA, like VIP Battle Pass right there from Fusion Strike. Like, it is really cool to see cards like that on this list, and it's really cool for me to go and look through a whole bunch of cards that I have and look for some of these that maybe I overlooked when I opened them, and to be able to make a couple nickels in the long run. So with this being said, this is the middle third right here, and again, talking about cards that kind of caught me by surprise is that Arceus from the Trainer's Toolbox, right? Trainer's Toolbox is an item that I don't think a whole lot about, but again, this Arceus has a lot of playability, so it's up here, it's in high demand. There's two different versions of this. I think one is 307 and one is 306. And spoiler alert, you know, we might see the other one here later on. Now, again, look at all the Obsidian Flames that is on here. There has been no shortage of videos and people talking about Obsidian Flames and how it has had a very, very rough go of things, right? People are saying, is it just the Charizard set and nothing else matters? But for me, like, you see all of this excitement. There's a lot of people who are still going after a lot of these Obsidian Flames cards, and it doesn't mean that it's going to pop up in price. It doesn't mean that Obsidian Flames is going to be a great set in the long run, but what it does tell me is that no matter what is going on when a set first drops, there is a lot of interest in it. And if you are somebody who wants to rip and flip, you know, there's no better time than at the high end of that Pokemon pop and flop than when the sets first come out, right? So if you can get a case of booster boxes, rip them open and try and sell them ASAP, like that's when most of these card prices and the demand and the interest is going to be at its highest. Now, again, I don't know what Obsidian Flames is going to be in the long run. I'm hoping it does really well. I think we need a really strong Charizard set. I don't know if this is going to be it or not, but there is a ton of Obsidian Flames on all of these graphs that we're looking at. Now, I also wanted to call out, I love that Team Magma and Aqua is on here, like somebody from the way, way back machine. It is super cool to see, and that's a $70 card right there, so very, very cool. Charizard EX, despite the fact that it's $90 from Obsidian Flames, right? Like, that card is still up here on this list. So this is just a really cool overall indication that it doesn't matter if there's a $4 card. You see some cards on here for $1.36. Like, there is interest in all different price points. So this is another reason why I thought this video was so cool, and we should absolutely be talking about it today. So now we're going to get into the top 10, right? Again, Obsidian Flames still rules with all the cards up there. I love the fact that we have Pidgeys and Pidgeots all over the place up here. I think that is a really cool card. I think the whole artwork for all of the different versions is just amazing. I'm excited to see it up here. I'm excited to see so many other people are excited about it. No surprise, right? We've got a couple Charizard cards up there. I think Charizard's getting a boost from playability as well, but also because, let's be real, Charizard is Charizard, so people are going to love it. You know, another cool thing is we have that other Arceus from the Trainer Toolkit, right? I said there's a 307 and a 306. 306 was on the last one. 307 is on here. So this opens our eyes to some of these things. And now, again, I don't think that's going to be a long-term card that's going to be worth $100 and something someday. But at least in the interim, it's interesting to know that if you get a Trainer's Toolkit, there's a lot of people who are interested in the promos that are in there. Now, we also have Forest Seal Stone on here. And every month we do a top 10 video of cards that exchange the hands the most at TCG Player. And Forest Seal Stone has always been on there. But I will say this, listen, Forest Seal Stone is going to be in the new League Battle deck box that is coming out, so keep an eye on that. If you have those cards and you're interested in selling them, now might be the time, because when those new deck boxes come out, the value of this might go down because it is going to be included in there. So we're talking about, hey, how do we identify a trend before it happens? This might be one of those instances. Now, again, remember I said we were looking at 38 total cards. 22 of the 38 were Obsidian Flames cards. And again, remember, Obsidian Flames has been out for a hot minute, even though it is the newest set. So when we talk about, hey, if you want to, you know, buy and rip and flip and try and do all of that, obviously, the earlier you can do that, the better. There is still a lot of interest in Obsidian Flames, even though a whole lot of people out there are saying a whole lot of things about Obsidian Flames. Maybe it's not going to be the best set ever, but TCG Player right now, the second biggest online marketplace for TCG cards, is telling you, hey, listen, I don't care what anybody else is saying. There's so much demand for these cards and so little supply. We're begging you to list these on our site. The other interesting thing was 28 of these 38 cards were from the Scarlet and Violet era. Just again, talking about how, you know, the recency bias, and that's where everything is right now, at least from a demand standpoint here on TCG Player. Now listen, guys, we're doing all kinds of fun stuff here on this channel, and if you made it to the end, this this is just a small snippet of what we do. So if you enjoyed it, hit that subscribe button. We'd love to have you as a member. Like what you saw, give us a thumbs up. Questions or comments, drop them down below. As always, I appreciate you. You all have an epic one. See ya.